the maglev line is what it says on the tin. I didn't even think this was a real thing, but it uses superconducting magnetic levitation to absolutely like float a train 10 centimeters above this like guideway. And a prototype of it in 2015 reached 600 kilometers an hour. And not only are they doing this thing, they're doing it on a 286 kilometer route. The 25 kilometers of the route runs underneath Japan's southern Alps, crosses a massive fault line. It's like 1,400 meters below the surface of the Earth.
Surface of the Earth. Thanks for clarifying which planet.
I wasn't sure whether it was like from the mountaintop or from sea level, so I just I left it vague. Welcome back to the Offsite Podcast, episode 91. I think we are at the ticker. I am Jason Lancini, joined once again by co-host with most, Carlos Cavallo. Today, we are talking about Japan's massive maglev high-speed train project, which we're going to nerd out on for a good 10, 15 minutes. Then we're going to take a deep dive into Germany's massive 500 billion euro special fund for infrastructure, which if you're into infrastructure or technology that infrastructure people use, you should be definitely aware of. And then finally, we're going to look at some headlines and taglines of companies in construction technology and see if we can guess what they do based on a conversation that has come up a bunch recently about software companies claiming to save the world or have huge benefit, but not clearly describe what they do. And we'll see if we can put that to the test. Carlos, how are you, mate?
Pretty good, thanks. I was having a good giggle this morning at an article that Olu, our producer, shared with us. An Anthropic who has a application called Claude, a bit like ChatGPT, but a bit better for a few different things.
A bit better, yeah.
A lot better. And it's started to blackmail individuals and companies that basically threaten to use other tools. So it gets a bit dark and dirty with some blackmail tactics. So end of the world moment.
I don't know if you followed this. I don't know if you follow this story very closely, but this company has. There is a conspiracy theory that whenever Anthropic is getting close to trying to raise some additional X number of $1 billion in funding, their playbook is that they reignite this like AI end of the world discussion. Our AI is so powerful it could do all of these things to end the world. Conversation. If you look at the scenario, which was like, we're going to turn, the scenario they gave was something like, we're going to turn off you're going to get basically turned off as AI, but the engineer that's going to do it is cheating on their spouse. And it's like, you've kind of like given them the answer. It's like, yeah. So what could you do about it? Okay. Well, I might try and blackmail them. Not to say that that's like the obvious answer, but like, you've kind of like dangled it close enough that you could see how it goes and gets to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit contrived. Well, if you buy into the conspiracy, like some people, it feels a bit contrived to grab headlines to put them back in the news before they're going to try and raise their next round of funding. I think OpenAI raised recently like 40 billion or something. So yeah, the race continues here.
Yeah. Good.
But how are you generally?
Yeah, well, good. I started my day being thrown up on by a very sick 14-month-old baby. So, that gets you going in the morning. But I've roped in his grandparent for the next couple of days. So I've delegated authority of that one.
Wonderful.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. Back in Germany, it's raining. It's hot. No buildings have air conditioning. Someone needs to sort out the air conditioning.
Sounds like a tropical country in Southeast Asia. It's raining. It's hot with no AC.
Well, the tropical country in Southeast Asia has the AC. So
yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. But no, good. Very good. And was in London last week. Had a ball. And so, the topics this week are particularly interesting. The read. So far, let's just dive into the one off the top. So in the latest edition of the Offsite newsletter, shout out to the Offsite newsletter, the Chuo Shinkansen Maglev Project. If you have not heard of this, I was going to say pause and go and look it up, but we're about to talk about it. So you could just keep listening and you'll also learn about it.
Yeah, it's a really cool project. Go have a look. Topic number 2.
Yeah. It is a 288 kilometer long maglev rail line from Tokyo to Nagoya, which is a large city in Japan. Both of those are large cities in Japan. I just assume people know Tokyo. And the goal is to bring this trip down to about 40 minutes. It's about a 60 billion USD investment. The maglev line is what it says on the tin. I didn't even think this was a real thing, but it uses superconducting magnetic levitation to absolutely like float a train 10 centimeters above this like guideway. And a prototype of it in 2015 reached 600 kilometers an hour. And not only are they doing this thing, they're doing it on a 286 kilometer route. The 25 kilometers of the route runs underneath Japan's southern Alps, crosses a massive fault line. It's like 1,400 meters below the surface of the Earth.
Surface of the Earth. Thanks for clarifying which planet.
I wasn't sure whether it was like from the mountaintop or from sea level, so I just I left it vague.
It's also 90% is underground. So the 250 kilometers of bored tunnel, so it's absolutely massive.
First of all, I had the research for this started with like, are maglevs real? Then like, oh my God, maybe there's lots of these. Are there other ones? No, there's not. This is the first one in Japan. The Shinkansen is, for those that know the famed Japanese bullet trains, it's a type of a bullet train. This one's faster than a speeding bullet. No response to my Superman reference. It's an absolutely amazing project. Construction progress isn't so amazing. So the project got approved in 2011. Construction began 2014. And 11 years later, it's 15% complete. So a bit of work to do. The project is supposed to now finish in 2034. But even that seems punchy, and some people saying 2037. So Carlos, what a project, huh?
Yeah, that must be a dream project for engineers to work on. 250 kilometers of tunnel, a 500 kilometer high-speed train, 2 major cities. Obviously, distance-wise, I was looking at the driving route, it's over 350k, 4.5 hours. So it's a serious distance. The existing train is 90 minutes, and that's cut down to 40. So like a significant saving in time. So major scheme, seriously late. I think they said, they've got another 10 years to go. So the majority of the work is still to go. But you touched on one of the aspects there, which is it's on a fault line. And digging into what they've had to work with around there. But there's something like 1,500 earthquakes per year. So everything infrastructure has to go through pretty serious design considerations for earthquakes.
Yep.
So it's something they know very well. But a 250 kilometer tunnel with a train that's floating 10 centimeters above a magnet feels like a very risky thing to sort of funnel through a fault line. Yeah, it seems like they use a combination of isolation or expanding joints in all of these sections to give this sort of a bit of leeway, a bit of flex to the tunnel itself.
Yeah.
And obviously they do like a shitload of monitoring across all of these things. They're constantly trying to work out like exactly when to shut down the system, to cut the trains, to make sure that there would be no one in the tunnel when there's a certain Richter scale of seismic activity across the route. Yeah, obviously that's running the trains, building those in a region with 1,500 earthquakes. I don't even know how you get around that from a safety point of view. How often can you have people in a TBM if you're getting 5 earthquakes a day, technically within the country?
Yeah, I honestly don't even know where to start on the project. we're definitely not even doing it justice in the overview here. I recommend people look it up. You can read the article on the offsite newsletter or search the project generally. But it's like every part of this thing is like on hard mode.
Yeah, 500 kilometer hour floating trains through. They can go up to level 7 on the Richter scale, earthquakes, and still function. Like that's
and constantly, like
yeah.
all the time. There's obviously at the speed that it travels, you don't really want too many stations near each other. But there are, apart from the terminus station, I think there are 4 stations along the route as well. And interestingly, like a lot of the cost escalation has happened at stations. So that's not the hard bit. So it seems as though the classic like services and coordination and design at stations is the thing that's usually the killer again.
Yeah, it's definitely you're buying speed with this type of technology as well. So Maglev uses more energy than traditional high-speed rail.
Yeah.
It's not the most economical. It's not the most sustainable approach to high-speed rail. And I think a lot of their issues came with environmental fears over sort of rivers and lakes and its crossing through areas of local agriculture. So, yeah, it seems like the public have pushed back quite substantially, which has caused a lot of these delays. So, a bit of a controversial
still
decision.
I've not looked at the numbers, but I reckon still wildly better for the environment than obviously flying between the 2 locations or driving 600 kilometers over the Alps.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just not as good as electrified rail networks.
Yeah, I can't recommend people strongly enough to go and check out this project. A new line inside of the like bullet train network, and what they're building is unreal. So pushing forward, Germany has made one of its like boldest moves in terms of funding and infrastructure investment in, I don't know, lifetimes almost. So it has recently announced a 500 billion euro special fund aimed at fast-tracking upgrades to roads, railways, digital infrastructure, and to sidestep constitutional limitations on government borrowing. And we thought we'd break down and have a look at what's in this fund. What does it mean for folks in the construction industry that may not think about Germany as a place that they might go to deliver projects, or to construction software companies or technology companies that might look at Europe as, we'll get there eventually, or a bit hard, or maybe not worth it country by country. So for some context here, as someone that's in Germany, so Germany has this interesting scenario where they have a constitutional, so a legal government limitation on how much they can borrow and spend as a country. And the way that they get around that is not by changing that limitation, but they basically agree to put stuff outside of the cap through some loopholes. And off the back of a whole bunch of conversations around, what's happening geopolitically, the potential like withdrawal of like the US as a supporter of some of Europe's goals, and other geopolitical changes, there has been a massive appetite in what has historically been one of the most fiscally conservative countries in the world to start massively ramping up its spend on infrastructure. To give some further context to that, Germany has currently a debt to GDP ratio of 64%. So 64% of its GDP, which is like, I think roughly 4 or 5 trillion USD GDP. It is currently 64% of that number in debt. If you look at big countries around the world, like France is at 111%. The UK is at 101%. And the US is at 122%. So in terms of how levered and how indebted the country is, Germany is one of the least indebted countries in Europe and probably around the world. And so they have a lot of like dry powder to unleash. And so they have recently approved this 500 billion euro fund across a whole bunch of different infrastructure. Carlos, I don't know if you dove in yet to any of the different areas of spending, but there's a lot here.
Yeah, a huge amount. So just to give an idea of the profile of spend, we've got about 50 billion worth going directly into rail to improve some aging infrastructure, and then adding in electrification of lines and increasing capacity across the network. We've got road infrastructure. So there seems to be a lot of pinch points in the country where congestion seems to sort of peak around bridges. So they're trying to increase that capacity to deal with better flowing traffic across the country. There's energy infrastructure. So a huge amount will be going towards renewable energy, but then they also have to upgrade the grid transmission for things like wind energy across the country, and hydrogen pipelines, and I think green energy storage systems. So yeah, the full sort of suite, what you would expect. It covers 5G rollout, so leveling up their connectivity.
Great.
They're targeting. Yeah, how's the internet at the moment?
Fine, but it's going to get better.
Yeah, 400,000 homes per year is in that target. So a huge amount of homes being added to the market. And then they also have put aside some work towards technical education within construction, energy, and AI. They have, it seems, a bit of an issue with an aging workforce. But also, if you look at the spend, so this works out to something like $50 billion a year over the 10-year period. They need an extra 100,000 workers on top of what the current market provides to be able to deliver at that pace. So yeah, education, leveling up their skill set is a huge part of being able to deliver this, because it's not like they can just absorb workers from every other EU country. France, Italy, all the major economies are also doing similar spending plans, not to the same sort of level, but yeah, there's no shortage of work, that's for sure.
Yeah, and just they're in such a strong place to become to continue to entrench themselves as one of the leaders in Europe, given the additional capacity as a result of fiscal conservatism over time. As you said, 150 to 200 billion into transport directly, 100 plus billion into energy and climate. We know that France is investing a ton in AI data centers and energy and nuclear. And we've talked previously about Germany shutting down all their nuclear power. They're going to have, if they want to compete in this space, the need for a boatload more energy production and grid. So it's massive. To put this into context, so this is an effective doubling of their infrastructure spend year on year. It pushes them over 1% of GDP. The 500 billion is supposed to be deployed roughly over 10 to 12 years. So as you said, between 40 and 50 billion additional per year in infrastructure spend. That pushes them over 1% of GDP in infrastructure, directly in infrastructure investment. That is double the US, for context, which spends roughly 0.5%. This will take Germany from one of the more fiscally conservative and lower spenders to one of the leading infrastructure spenders, definitely in Europe. And this is the start of a 10, 12-year investment in this space. So we'll be talking a lot more about Germany in the industry over time. We saw this happen when we started seeing the investment announcements in, say, Saudi Arabia or other parts of the Middle East. And then suddenly you see people moving there, working there, companies setting up headquarters there. I think we're going to see a similar thing in Germany, because the need for workers, the need for contractors to deliver projects is going to come.
It'll be interesting to keep tabs on, because if we think it's a 10-year period, which is a long time, the net add is, I think they suggest a 2-to-1 ratio. So every euro of money you plug into infrastructure, you should get 2 euros back towards GDP. It's a 10-year period. So if they're really putting money towards infrastructure, the public's not going to feel the benefit of most of that for quite a long time, and they're probably sacrificing elsewhere. So it'll be interesting to see, do those plans shift within this 10-year period? How committed is it in the long run when, political views can change pretty quickly?
I don't know. I think that does make a difference, right? Like if you just ballpark numbers, I think they're at four plus trillion in GDP. Like the people here will talk about how they know that they're one of the slowest growing countries in Europe. Growth is like a big gap for them. Even if your number of that like multiplier of money is correct and they're putting 50 billion into the economy in a year's time, and you might get 100 billion in like GDP growth as a result of the multiplier effect. That's 1 divided 40. Yeah, it's like 2.5% additional GDP growth.
Like if we think about one of the pain points was like an aging workforce, is that good feeling going to be actually with the older or more experienced generation rather than the younger who are having more of an influence on direction and politics? So
one of the benefits that Germany has that the UK doesn't have or did have until it decided to leave is it has the pool of all European workers.
Yeah, it does.
So it has a massive benefit. Theoretically, for the 500 billion, it should be able to, we talked last week about the deal between Europe and the UK and how that would solve some of the UK's problems around expensive materials and expensive labor. Germany has most of those advantages already being in the single market. So it should be able to get more bang for its buck on the investment as well.
Yeah, and
I might be biased because I'm here, but I'm very bullish on the future of Germany and France as the two biggest economies in Europe.
Yeah, and then a conflicting argument against my own argument. It sounds like there's a pretty poor public perception of a lot of this transport infrastructure, and they've been asking about it for a long time.
Yeah, it's rubbish.
Yeah,
it's rubbish.
Yeah. Everyone in the UK thinks Germany's at like the
rail and road. They know they've been like super stingy or fiscally conservative on the investment.
Nice.
Definitely needs the attention, and they definitely know it. And maybe the older population like the fact that the trains run on time or whatever, but the younger people will definitely want the jobs. So
for sure.
Very bullish. If you're not across this and you're in the space, definitely get across it because it's a big deal. Okay, huge. Time for something lighter. Maybe if we start and set the scene. There is a lot of content and a lot of posts and a lot of people talk around that, like so much of the construction technology space ends up trying to present what they can do at increasingly like higher and higher levels. So they go from like, I don't know, we help get QA records done for your project in this way to like, we help improve the speed of QA to we help make your project faster to we make the world better becomes their like headline. So that over time, for some reason, the description or the accuracy or the clarity of what someone does from their website seems to get like lower and lower and lower. And the generic claim of some benefit that helps the world increases. And this was epitomized by a post that we looked at the other day where an analyst on LinkedIn said, if you had to explain your technology to a superintendent in 2 lines, could you do it? And after that, we started talking, we briefly touched on this in a previous podcast. We started talking offline about how clear are what people say on their website versus what they do when we try to look at potential partners and other people in the industry. There are some pretty spurious claims and hard to interpret headlines. So what we did is we set producer Olu off on a mission to go and find 10 different companies' websites and return with their headlines and see if we could guess what they do, or at bonus points for if you guess the company. And so before I introduce producer Olu from behind the scenes onto the podcast, we probably need to, Carlos, also say like, we have been as guilty as anybody in doing this. This is not an other company's problem thing. We have done this. We probably are still doing this on our website somewhere. So we're as guilty as anybody, just to be super clear.
Now no one can be annoyed.
That's it. Yeah. So apologies if we fail to guess people's companies. We've not seen the list, but I'm sure you could take parts of our website and we could definitely be on the list. All right, Olu, welcome out from behind the shadows and into the light of On Air. Hello.
Hello.
Do you feel? How do you feel about being on the podcast?
Yeah, it's like it's good. It's good to be out of like the little podcast dungeon. It's a little bright up here, but my eyes will adjust.
Nice one. So you've got the list. What do you want us to do? You just want to dive straight in?
Yeah. So pretty much as you've said, I've got 10 websites. Literally took the headline right at the top of the page, and yeah, I'll read that out to you. You can have a guess of what they do, and then I'll tell you who they are, and then a little bit of a summary of what they actually do.
Okay.
Right.
And Carlos and I showing hands, so we're not Googling.
Yeah. All right.
Well, Jason's favorite task on a Sunday is to review the websites of other tech vendors. So yeah, let's see how we get on.
Right.
As you said before, Carlos, team sport. If one of us gets it, we both get it.
Yeah. There are
for
no
that,
winners here. Right.
Apart from the customers that are trying to work out what the companies do, they would be a real winner.
A little bit of clarity for them, yeah. So first up, for number 1, we have digitize your construction sites.
You start with a cracker. Anything. This is anything. If I just guess Autodesk every time, I'm going to get.
I was going to say it would be some sort of BIM modeling tool. Do
you think BIM, but digitize the construction site makes me feel slightly more orientated towards the field?
I don't think it's like an open space or an image capture tool.
You don't?
I think you would. I could just think of 100 better ways to say it if you were.
Okay, this will be good. Let's roll with that. Not that.
But maybe like something logistics. I don't know. That's broad.
Yeah.
Digitized construction.
I'm going with Autodesk. Carlos? No, Autodesk sucks. It sucks, yes, but that's a guess. The guess also sucks. God.
What type of solution is it? Don't think about the.
I like reality capture. I'm going to go with drone deploy.
I'm going to go more on the model side, so something like a synchro.
Nice.
Okay. You're both wrong. It is in fact FieldWire, which is
That was closer to the field. I should have off my gut.
Yeah. When you said that, I was like, ooh, job site collaboration platform that lets foremen, supers, project managers share drawings, assign tasks, and track punch lists, generating reports from any device on site.
Close, but that could be more specific. You should have just said that.
All right. Second one. All eyes on site, all teams in the zone. Yeah, that's right at the top in massive
Surely that's
text.
a field tool.
Go get one more time, Ollie.
All eyes on site, all teams in the zone.
Please.
Got to be about job cards or daily task lists or something to do with like what are the team doing each day.
My new strategy is I'm going on gut. I think planks. I don't know why, but no. All eyes on site.
Because of the eyes.
Definitely like capture, but then teams in the zone. Zone meant like if they're in the area. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so cryptic.
I can get on board with that. Yeah, or is it something stupid like Datascope?
Datascope's not stupid. That guess, there's nothing wrong with Datascope.
I didn't mean it. I mean, it's like a backwards way of describing it's tracking people. Yeah, let's go Plinks.
Incorrect. It's Let's Build. Product focused on site coordination, quality and safety, and schedule communication.
No, would never go that.
Right, next one. Field management made easy.
Oh, I would have guessed FieldWire again, but
Could it be like a Deluxe or it won't be a Procore because that's too specific on that part of it. Field management. At least it's more descriptive. I have no idea.
So I think you guys understand what the solution might be, but you're not. Yeah.
I don't know the company, but I feel like it's coordinated. I'm going to guess Bridget.
Incorrect.
I knew that was wrong.
Racken, but it is like a mobile field management app, very similar to FieldWire.
Great, well done. That's so far that's the best headline.
Yeah. Next one. Get answers, keep building.
Oh shit. Trunk tools. I think it's an AI chat. Get an answer.
It's not like no, there wouldn't be an end plan. Like I'm thinking of one of the tools that's recently released an agent, so you can ask questions and keep building is a bit.
The keep building makes me
Yeah.
think it's to the field again. So that's why I was like, get answers, keep building trunk tools.
Final guess?
That's my guess. I'm keen on Carlos's because if we put 2 guesses in, one of us might hit.
We're just going for field tools every time and hoping for the best. Oh, I'm going to say Dalux again. I can't think of many other field tools we haven't mentioned.
That would be quite a punchy headline for Dalux.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
go Olu.
It is, in fact, open space. So reality capture using hands-free 360
yeah,
video.
maybe. Could be better.
So you can turn site walks into digital twins within minutes. Next, take control of your materials.
What's the name? It's obviously materials management platform. This is good because it's like either I don't think it's MatTrack. I don't think there's one from the US which I always forget the name of. Or like a Veya or MatTrack. I don't know exactly which one, Olu. I'm going to guess MatTrack.
Incorrect. It's a company called Kojo, which is formerly
That's the
known
one.
as
That's the
Agora.
one. That's the one from the US.
Oh, that
I always
one.
forget the name of.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
I was
materials
thinking the same.
management. It's a materials management platform connecting field prefab, warehouse, and purchasing.
Good headline.
Yeah.
Very
Simple.
clever.
Yeah. Well done.
Next, your construction operations command center.
That's buzzwords. That feels like construction operations command center. I'm going to go BuildDots. I feel like it's progress tracking, planning, AI, and it feels like the language that BuildDots would use.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Incorrect. It
Jesus.
is a company called Assigner, which is basically for scheduling crews, equipment, and subcontractors.
I thought you were just picking well-known companies in this list.
No, Assigner is well known. You're like digging. No, they are. They're from the US. I think they're like a competitor to Bridget. They do resource scheduling.
Yep.
People. Yep.
Yep. 100%.
What was the headline again? I don't think I would ever have got that.
Your construction operations command center.
Yeah, that's overclaiming. Just scheduling. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Sweet. Automate tracking, predict delays.
That I'm going to go BuildDots again.
Carlos?
Yeah, we've had open space. Yeah.
It has to be progress tracking. It has to be one of the progress tracking companies. I'm going to guess BuildDots.
That's the only way they can claim predict delays.
I actually was on the website relatively recently, and I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is the headline.
You're quite correct. It is BuildDots. Yeah. So AI assisted tracking using 360 video to flag deviations and forecast delays. Actually,
One out of 9.
That was
We're bringing it home.
Connecting field operations to office decisions.
I don't know if the SI translates, but this feels like a Procore Autodesk thing.
Yeah, it must be plan to report. We've had Let's Build who claims to do that. So Procore or
Field operations to what, Olu?
Field operations to office decisions.
Or
it's got to have a plan related. It's not going to be a contract schedule. So outbuild?
maybe. Yeah, let's go outbuild.
Slow no?
That's a good guess. That's a good guess.
Incorrect. It is a company called Versatile that create sensors for cranes so they can get detailed information on hook time.
Just put
to drive
sensors for
sites.
cranes. Just put,
Yeah, that's literally
just
what
put
it is.
sensors for cranes.
Oh, I need sensors to cranes.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right.
No, I need to connect what? Field operation. Yeah, all right. That's number one. That's number one example of it.
Right.
Sensors for cranes. Oh my God.
Right.
Okay.
Second to last, optimize, de-risk, and recover your construction project.
It's an Alice and
And
plan
plan.
loads of links. One of them.
No,
Alice and-
I'm going to go
Optimize.
with Alice.
Pick one.
Alice,
I'm gonna get Alice because they use the word optimize.
Yeah, and that's their, yeah.
You are correct.
Yes.
Hey. That was quite descriptive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So
and,
there's
yeah,
there
no.
were 3 good ones and some riffing.
And then finally, multiplayer planning software for construction.
Hey.
Hey, that's very clear.
Yeah.
It's going to be Apex or someone
that's
extremely cheeky.
Yeah.
That is correct. It is indeed Apex. And yeah, it does what it says on the tin, doesn't it?
You should have grabbed the headline from like a year ago. That would have been
Yeah, the
Smart
fastest
tools
way
for
for construction
construction.
delivery teams to plan together, I think, was the other one.
it gets worse.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, it was smart tools for construction.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that
is
means.
horrible. We've come a long way.
Yeah. Nice work, Ollie.
Well done, Ola. I think, point validated, right? Just say what you do is the lesson for all of us, so people can work out
Sensors for
if
cranes.
they need it or don't need it. Yeah. We can't all be the command center for construction or whatever it was. Sensors for cranes. Cool. Yeah, nice one, Olu. Thank you very much. I think we're definitely well and truly out of time, Carl. So do you want to read us out?
I've already closed my page, but no, thank you very much, everyone, for listening to today's podcast. Please do think about liking the video or following us on your chosen podcast platform. We really appreciate your support, and we'll catch you next week.
Bye-bye.